So you've found Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. One thing I think we can all agree on is that donuts are awesome. Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
So we brought in Taylor Carlson, the general manager and co-owner at Greenbush Bakery.
Yep.
How you doing today?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited because we're in this new studio here. Studio-ish.
Yep.
And so this is the first live video that we're doing the podcast interview on. So,
All right.
So welcome, man. If anything breaks,
yeah.
Sorry. So Greenbush Bakery. Let's start out first. Where did the name come from?
So Greenbush Bakery came from the neighborhood that our original location was at.
Oh.
So that neighborhood down off Regent Street is known as the Greenbush neighborhood. And
I had no idea.
It was where the Italian immigrants lived. And it's still named the Greenbush neighborhood. So that's kind of where that name came from when my grandparents bought the business.
Okay.
So there was a bakery that was down on Regent Street a few years back, and that's my grandparents purchased the bakery when it was kind of run down and dingy, and changed the name to Greenbush Bakery.
All right.
And they bought that in March of 1996.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they've owned the business for 24 years now.
That is so weird. 1996 to me.
Yeah, I know.
Still seems like, that was just the other day, right?
Yeah, it was.
But that's 24 years ago. Oh, I feel old. What are you going to do?
So that was our original location down there.
All right.
And we built another location on the east side of Madison a little over 3 years ago now.
Sure.
And then we just relocated that original location at the end of August. So it's been almost like a year now since we moved to that location, and we just moved it down like a block.
Sure.
Still on Regent Street.
Okay.
So it's just kind of a new spot, and
sure.
So we've got 2 locations in Madison now. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So do you know the story about why your grandparents chose a bakery, or specifically that bakery?
It was. It's kind of funny. My grandpa always talks about like all things kind of led up to his life to owning the bakery.
All right.
So he's done numerous things in his life. He was in the Navy. He sold insurance. He's worked at Oscar Mayer for numerous years. So he kind of has done all these different jobs where it kind of, I think it was kind of almost like an impulse thing where he just decided to
just buy a bakery,
do something new, and ended up in the bakery business. And so yeah, it wasn't really any like crazy story behind it. I think it was just kind of an opportunity that came up. And when he originally bought the bakery, he had a business partner in on it with him that he ended up buying out a few years after they purchased it. So him and my grandma are like the main ones that have owned the business for all these years. So
he had to be older-ish, relatively speaking, when he bought the bakery.
Yeah,
right?
he's in his 70s now, so he was
mid-50s.
Mid-50s, yeah, around 50.
All right.
So
career shift.
Yeah, a little bit.
Going from insurance to selling donuts. That's awesome. So did the bakery itself was existing at the time that he bought it?
Yeah, there was a bakery there. It wasn't Greenbush.
Okay.
But there was a bakery there when he purchased it. So he had to do a lot of upkeep to kind of bring it up to speed. And that's kind of what, has made the business what it is just his ability to be a handyman and know every aspect of the business and kind of do things on his own to kind of, bring the business where it was. And even the last like 5 years of us getting the east side location and relocating, it's completely different game than it was 24 years ago.
Oh, I bet.
Just as far as the locations and volume that we do now. But
is it more or less?
Oh, it's a lot more.
What do you attribute that to? Is it more people just around Madison?
I think just how Madison's growing, and with us just being a staple in Madison for such a long time. I think with the university kind of growing and just Madison as a whole, even like the outskirts, some Prairie here.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's kind of a tribute to it. And we've just kind of always had a high quality product where people word of mouth kind of talk about us. And, we kind of do something that a lot of places, there's not too many places in the area that do what we do. So I think
as far as bakery or what
I mean, I think just with the quality of stuff. I mean, there's bakeries all around Madison, but you know, our main focus is, would say, donuts.
Okay.
So there's a lot of good bakeries in the area that do, you know, kringle or cakes and stuff like that. But as far as what we do, I don't think there's really too many people that can compete with us for what we do.
Sure.
So yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
So I feel like donuts are one of those things that just seem to be popular at any time, regardless of the health kicks, I guess, that people may or may not claim to be doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
It's a
you look around
food.
the world and you're like, well, not too many people on health kicks. But so, I mean, you show up to a party or with some friends and you show up with a box of donuts. No one's going to be like, get those out of here. Even if it's January 2nd.
Yeah, someone will eat them.
Right, yeah. So tell me, is your bread and butter business the one-on-one, like the person walking in buying a few dozen or a dozen or 6 donuts or something like that? Or is it the huge, wholesale where you're selling
so
truckloads of donuts?
We do wholesale stuff in local grocery stores and markets in the area.
Okay.
So we're in like the Hy-Vee, Metcalf's, Willie Streets.
All right.
And Woodman's.
Okay.
So we're just in the Madison area for that, and we do packaged product for that.
Okay.
But that's really only probably like a fifth of our business that we do for wholesale.
Okay.
It's mainly like our retail at both locations. Our east side location is kind of gradually grown, and I think that's just with the area out here. Has kind of, there's apartments and houses going up like crazy over here.
Oh my gosh.
And
they're
I think,
like weeds.
Yeah. In downtown, with the students, we're right on campus down there.
Sure.
Anytime there are athletic events going on down there, we're busy. And I think, with our retail, that's definitely our, big business that we do.
Okay.
So I think, with everything that's going on too, it's been, tough because we were able to keep doing that wholesale stuff. And that was, with people only being able to go to grocery stores.
Sure.
These last few months, we've been really busy with that, and our wholesale accounts have kind of grown as far as like volume of what we're doing.
Okay.
But obviously not having that retail has been kind of a tough situation.
Right.
But we were able to kind of, we were doing some curbside stuff out of our east side location here. That's where we do our wholesale production. And that's kind of the main reason we got that east side location was for our wholesale stuff. So we had kind of just outgrown the Regent Street location as far as production. We were probably doing 16, 17-hour days with our wholesale and retail stuff when it was just Regent Street at the end of before we got the east side.
Okay.
So we were kind of looking at another location to do that mass production for the grocery stores.
Sure.
And we kind of fell out here. So we do all that production out at the east side for the grocery stores. So that's the last few months we were still doing that.
Okay.
And then we added like the curbside pickups.
Sure.
When we didn't have our retail open.
All right.
Which was kind of fun because at first we were doing just Friday afternoons.
Okay, yeah.
And we were really busy with that, and we started bringing back some of our full-time employees kind of gradually. And we started doing Thursday through Sunday mornings where we were doing the curbside. And there was a few days where we would have like a line all the way out past that Steinhoffel's, like out to the road. Mother's Day it was probably like a 45-minute wait for people to get their donuts. And we did like all pre-orders for it too.
Sure.
Because otherwise we would have had no idea what to make and what to expect. So we would get all the orders in place and kind of have like a pickup time for everyone, and they would come and wait in line, and we'd run the donuts out to the car, take payment. So we were just kind of been getting creative with it the last few months here, and now we've got both of our retails open at both locations with we're open 6 to 1. 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. every day right now at both locations. And then after 4th of July weekend here, we're going to kind of expand into some afternoon hours. So, yeah, it's been an interesting few months, but I mean, everyone's kind of been dealing with the same stuff.
That's the name of the game, right?
Yeah.
Anybody that's in retail or where you have some consumer contact of any kind.
Well, and that was the hardest part about it too, is, the biggest thing for us is having people come in and see the donuts and kind of choose out what donuts they wanted, and not having that for people. We were doing the pre-orders, but we were also having people calling the morning of, like, hey, are you guys open? But
Oh,
we were
wow.
like, no, we're doing curbside, but
Sure.
we were making extra stuff for people to kind of try to accommodate. But it was kind of a tough thing when you don't have the customer coming in to see what you have available,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So, and we do so many different kinds of donuts where it was kind of just first come, first serve. And if people were looking for specifics, we were trying to accommodate them to that. And with our business, we're not like a normal restaurant where it's like making the stuff on demand. It takes a lot of work and prep time to
4
kind of
hours
do it.
ago,
You know,
right?
it's not like you can order a cheeseburger and like it's ready in 15, 20
Sure.
minutes. So that was kind of a tough aspect of it. But we just kind of been doing what we can do and get creative as possible
Yeah.
with things. So, but I think a lot of people have been having to do that the last few months here.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, you're not alone.
Yeah,
You're not
that's
alone.
kind of the ease in it. Just like, you know, it's not just us dealing with it; it's everybody. So,
Right. So tell me about the Regent Street place. You switched locations
Yep.
a block away or something like
yeah,
that.
yep.
Is it bigger? Is it better? More traffic?
So the old location that we had a basement there, so we
Okay.
had a lot of storage, but it
Okay.
was kind of unused storage. But as far as our location now, we pretty much just cut down on that storage.
Okay.
And we've got a lot of space at our east side location where a lot of the extra equipment that we kind of accumulated over the years and unneeded space, we've kind of put all that equipment over in our storage at the east side and just kind
Okay.
of cut down on the storage at the new Regent Street spot.
Sure.
And then our retail at the new Regent Street, we had some seating inside.
Yeah.
But we've kind of put a kibosh at that for now.
tangled web, right?
So we actually we've got more space in like our retail, and it's that old Regent Street location. You know, I'd been there for so long, and it was kind of it had some character to it. And
Sure.
you know, even if our lease was kind of coming to an end there, where we kind of just made the decision to move to a new spot and kind of revamp and
Okay.
have a fresh start there. So it's a beautiful spot that we're in now.
Yeah.
And the way that we're in the Regent Apartments there.
Okay.
So it's right across the street from Scotty Bar or like the
sure.
old Lucky's. So we're like right in the shadows of Camp Randall pretty
Right.
much, which is nice. So that building itself, it's kind of a long spot where
Yeah.
there's a lot of windows. So we're actually, the way we've got that set up is we've got some of our production actually visible for customers.
Oh, wow.
So out in front, we've got like a little patio area for like the apartment complex.
Okay.
Where we've got some they've got some seating and stuff out there.
Sure.
And then where that seating is, all the windows are with like our sheeter room, so you can see them actually making donuts throughout the day.
Wow.
And a little bit of visibility with our production.
Sure.
So that's another cool aspect of it too. Because there's not really any places that you can go and see them
Right.
making your donuts or
Right.
making whatever it may be. So
That's cool.
yeah, and it's kind of a process. A lot of people have no idea how donuts are made, or never seen that before.
Fried.
So
I don't
yeah,
know.
it's kind of a cool aspect of the
Sure.
business too. So
Yeah. It's interesting. My kid, he likes to watch TV every once in a while. And I tell him you gotta learn something from whatever you watch. So you end
Yeah.
up watching these How It's Made shows.
oh, okay.
And I'm like, we gotta watch a How It's Made on chickens. Like from chicken animal into the
yeah,
chicken tenders or whatever he's in love with.
yeah.
And my wife was just being grossed out by it.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
like, you gotta know.
There's probably some stuff you don't want to see, but there's nothing really gross with donuts.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I imagine
and
there's a little
thing
grease,
is,
right?
too, yeah, with our vents and stuff too, it's pumping all the air out from our hood system.
Sure.
So if you're walking by the bakery too, you can just smell the donuts.
Oh,
kind of
sure,
out on
bring 'em
Regent
in.
Street or the east side too. And
You
it's- like for me, it's kind of you come immune to the smell a little bit,
Sure.
but everybody that comes in, like, oh, I could smell it from a block away.
Oh,
or
you're
whatever.
fishing them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
So tell me a story about how you got involved, because
Yeah.
1996 was a while ago for you.
yeah, so I've kind of grown up with being involved with the business. So when I was a kid, my grandpa would always take me to the bakery and have me
Sure.
sweep up or whatever, just kind
Right.
of was babysitting me. And when I was like in college, I went to MATC for 2 years, and then I was up in Stevens Point
Okay.
to finish up my degree. And whenever I was in college back for the summers or winter breaks, I'd always kind of help out at the bakery. And
Sure.
I was actually able to use the bakery as my internship to graduate for business.
Oh, nice.
So my last semester of school, I only had a few days of classes where I was kind of commuting back on the weekends.
Sure.
And I was kind of using that as my time to. I didn't really know I was going to be working at the bakery.
Okay.
Until probably like my senior year of college.
Oh.
So it was kind of just like perfect timing with my grandparents, like
Sure.
getting older and needing to kind of expand the business where I've kind of came into play. And it was kind of good to use it as like an internship,
Sure.
just because I knew that's what I was going to be doing, and just kind of learning the aspects of the business. And
Right, it's real world.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure.
So once I graduated, I kind of started full time with the bakery, and that's when we just had the Regent Street location, the old Regent Street location. And about a year in from when I started, that's when we kind of got the East Side location rolling.
Okay.
So it was just kind of like perfect timing.
Sure.
Thing with my family. So
did your grandparents ask you about the second location, or did they?
It was
did you get
kind
any
of
decision-making power there? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of, as far as like finding a location and kind of getting everything set up as far as build outs and stuff like that. I was pretty much in full control almost of that. Like obviously they had some say with it, and but I was kind of taking over, most of that stuff as far as getting that kind of in play. So
all right.
So yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. How did you guys land on the East Side spot?
So we had looked at a few locations. We looked at a spot that we weren't sure about it. It was kind of a nice spot. It was right over by Carbon 4.
Oh, sure.
On the east
on
side.
51 there, yeah.
We had looked at that one first, and then we looked at a few other locations where we were just trying to think, because we wanted to have that wholesale production there, but we also wanted to have the retail side of things.
That's a tough combo to find space.
Yeah, exactly. So we needed a lot of space, and we needed, an ability to be able to draw a retail crowd. We get a lot of foot traffic down on Regent Street, and we don't really have that at the east side. It's more people driving in. But we were kind of just looking for something that would fit both of those aspects. And the spot that we're in right now is actually like, it's perfect. We're kind of like right between Madison and Sun Prairie, and there's just apartments going up crazy and houses up like crazy. So, it's taken some time for us to kind of grow a customer base out there. Sure. But that's kind of for any business, and, for us being a small business too, it's not like I have, thousands of dollars for a marketing budget to
That's perfect segue. Perfect segue, because I want to ask you about marketing for a donut shop.
Yeah.
Like, how do you market a donut shop?
A lot of it's word of mouth.
Okay.
So I really don't do too much as far as marketing. A lot of it's just social media. Okay. We did some stuff when we started the East Side location for like Google ads and stuff like that, just to kind of get our listing some notoriety.
People searching specifically for donuts.
Yeah. I mean, it'll pop up now. That was kind of a learning aspect when we first started the business, because with the new Google listing, if you Google like McDonald's, it shows up on like the map every single McDonald's that you have. But with the new like Google listing, it didn't show up Greenbush Bakery right away. It showed the Regent Street location, but it didn't show the East Side. So that's why we kind of did some ads with that, just to kind of get some, some traffic with that location. And
there seems to be a little bit of a pay to play. In that regard, they don't say so.
So we still, it's gotten better over I think there's a lot of people, especially in Madison now, where people are kind of moving in for jobs and stuff where they weren't born and raised in Madison.
Sure.
A lot of people born and raised in Madison have probably heard of Greenbush Bakery or been to our bakery. But with a lot of new people kind of moving into the area and it growing, we still get some people coming in like, oh, I didn't know you guys had an East Side location. But it's kind of, we've got kind of our core group of customers that come in every weekend and stuff. And obviously you get new people coming in and out of town people and stuff. So it's taken some time to kind of grow that customer base over there. And we were starting to really get rolling right before everything started happening with COVID, where it was like, oh, everything's coming to a halt now. So we've still been kind of busy, on the weekends we've been like super busy, Saturdays, Sundays. And,
really, that's cool.
you know, during the week, like Monday through Thursday, it's been, you know, pretty slow, but I think that's just with a lot of people kind of working at home now and not getting donuts for the office or wanting to get donuts for the office if they are, because you don't want people,
people touching stuff. No.
So we've been doing some stuff as far as like individually bagging product and kind of doing that. So, yeah, I don't know. It's been interesting.
All right. So tell me, are you essentially taking over?
Yeah.
I guess the management side, or where?
Yeah.
What do you
so
do?
I mean, right now. So my grandparents are still kind of involved with the business. You know, they kind of do a lot of stuff out of their house as far as like paperwork and making sure they're paying bills and stuff like that. But we've kind of tried to ease them out of things just because they are getting older and they don't need to be working every day.
Sure, right.
And they've got me to do that. Right. So, so actually my dad, he worked at FedEx and retired.
Okay.
And started working for us, and he was he's been doing like deliveries and doing some like banking at both locations.
Okay.
That like my grandparents were doing, and some of like the daily statements and stuff like that. So he's been doing that for us, and then my mom is actually a teacher. In the Madison school district.
Oh, wow.
So she usually, like on weekends, will kind of help us out a little bit.
Sure.
And then like during the summers when she doesn't have classes and stuff, she's been kind of helping us out too whenever needed. So we've kind of got the whole family involved with things.
Yeah,
and
right.
My brother just graduated from school and he's been looking for a job, but he graduated with physical education. Degree.
It seems like that.
So right now, you know, he's looking for jobs too, where a lot of places probably aren't hiring because they don't know what the situation's going to be.
It is
an
uncertain world that we're in right now.
He's been working for us too, so yeah, we got everyone involved with it. But the ultimate goal is for me to kind of take over the business, and it's just kind of aligned like perfectly as far as them kind of getting to the point where they want to step down a little bit, and me graduating school and kind of growing the business and taking over things. So
that's fair.
Yep.
That's fair. Tell me why you guys chose East Side versus West Side or North Side.
So I think with us, our family has kind of always lived on the east side of Madison. Okay. So I think that kind of factored into it. Sure. A little bit.
I mean, I'm East Side, so I'm totally loving what you guys are doing.
No, I think too with like, like I was saying before, a lot of the areas around Madison are kind of starting to explode as far as growth. So I think, with just looking at like how much Sun Prairie was growing, we kind of wanted to be in that area a little bit. And I think just as far as like, having that downtown location, it was a pretty good distance away from that we were looking at. And I think, with, my future, I'm only 27. Sure. So I don't really see the business getting any smaller,
Hope not.
So I think, my ultimate goal would be to kind of eventually get like a location, maybe West Side or somewhere over there. There's been a lot of stuff going on like the last 3 years as far as the relocation and getting the East Side location where that's probably not in the horizon anytime, in the next couple of years. But, down the road, I'd like to probably get another location somewhere. Sure. So we can kind of cover, all of Madison. Right. But, yeah, I think the big thing was just kind of our family being from the east side of Madison, kind of wanting to be close to that. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I want to ask you about the equipment needed for a bakery.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this got to be a hugely capital intensive.
Yeah, that's pretty much like the main expenses as far as when we had to move our Regent Street location, we were able to kind of relocate a lot of that stuff. But when we went from just having the old Regent Street to getting a whole new east side location, we had to kind of find all new equipment because we didn't have that stuff sitting around.
So do you just walk me through what is needed? There's a mixer, I imagine.
Yep. So we've got
a mixer.
we've got 2 mixers at both locations. So we've got one bigger one that we use for like our raised dough and then like our frostings and stuff. Okay. And then we've got kind of a smaller one that we use for like our cake donuts and like our old fashions. Okay. So
old fashions.
Yeah,
like
not
the
drinks.
No. How big of it? That's awesome.
No, the old
fashioned. Just making my old fashions here. It's gonna be a long night.
Yeah.
Or a short one.
So yeah, we've got the mixers, we've got obviously the fryers that we fry our donuts in.
Sure.
We've got one fryer at Regent Street, and then we've got 2 fryers at the East Side location.
Okay.
And then we've got proof boxes for like our raised donuts and like the fritters.
Okay.
It's basically just like a sauna for like the donuts to kind of help them rise and get.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep.
So I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah, so it's kind of like same thing with bread. They've got like proof ovens for that.
Okay.
And then like our sheeters that we use for cutting like the raised donuts. It's kind of tough to like explain a lot of this stuff, like just you and me here
without
but, like,
visually showing.
like,
Sure.
it. Yeah. So
we'll have to do
a little tour.
A tour sometime. But for now, we'll just live with what we have.
Yeah. Yep.
So when you talk about big mixers versus little mixers, how big is big?
We've got like a 80 quart big mixer.
Okay.
And then like a 40 quart small mixer.
Wow.
So
that's still huge.
Yeah.
40 quart, you're talking 10 gallons.
Yeah. So
that's
yeah.
That's a lot of old fashioned. When you say old fashioned, you mean? So
those are like the let's see. So we do 5 different flavors of them. They're kind of like a cake donut, but they're dunkers.
Okay.
So
you're talking about the basic run of the mill,
the basic ones where they kind of like flare out a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are like the old fashioned donuts. We do them like sour cream is like the base. That's like a regular one that we do.
Sure.
And then blueberry, cherry, chocolate, and apple cinnamon. Those are like our main old fashions, and those are actually probably like our most popular donut that we do. The regular and blueberry ones.
Okay.
So that's kind of our main product we do for like our wholesale too.
Sure.
So we do those in 6-packs, and then we do like our big fritters in like a package too for like the grocery stores. So
okay. Huh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So how much of the process was manual that has now been automated or
that's
machine?
The big thing with us too is, I mean, everything as far as like the donuts, like we do everything by hand pretty much.
Oh wow.
So like all of the donuts, a lot of the places like Quick Trip and these big production, they've got like the fryers that kind of manually flip it with the fryer itself, but everything as far as our donuts is either dispensed or dropped in or flipped by hand by our employees. So it's pretty labor intensive.
It sounds like it.
Jobs, but that's kind of what makes us special too, just because it's not like a cookie cut donut, and it's got some love and hard work put into it.
Sure.
So.
That's fair. That's fair. Is it tough to find employees then?
No, not really. I mean, we've got probably around close to 30 employees between.
Do you really?
Both locations.
Oh wow. Okay.
About half of those are full-time employees, and then half are kind of part-time employees. A lot of them are students.
Okay.
So with our downtown location, we get a lot of UW students that work for us for a few years, and then once they graduate and move on and find other jobs, we get a lot of those. And then for the east side, we've got a few like MATC students that work for us part-time.
Okay.
And then as far as like our full-time production people, we have kind of had like the same core of those workers for numerous years. We've got a really good group of full-time workers that work for us. And
that's awesome.
Our big thing with our full-time, we pay 100% health insurance for all of our full-time people.
Whoa.
And then we pay pretty well too for like our full-time people too. So we've got a pretty good loyal workforce that stick around. We're not kind of cycling people in and out.
Right.
So that's kind of a big big aspect for our business too, is kind of having people familiar with the product and the business. So
healthcare has been an issue since 1980. I don't know, forever. I guess as far as the cost goes, I've read a lot of business books, and they were complaining about it forever. Yeah. Like I'm reading in this guy, I think it's called The Great Game of Business, and I'm reading this book, super interesting book. Guy rebuilds engines for Caterpillar, whatever. And he's complaining about the cost of health insurance, and I was like, when was this written? Yeah. And it was 1992. Yeah. I thought, oh man, if this guy could see the premiums now, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, that's kind of been our focus, even like the last few years too, where we've been like growing and adding more people, but we've kind of wanted to keep that aspect, because we see that as an important thing, especially with our, full-time people kind of, getting married and getting kids and whatnot, where we want to kind of have that as a kind of a rock for them to kind of, not only help them out, but kind of keep them around for us too. So I think a lot of people don't realize, especially if you never had to pay your health insurance before, how expensive it is. And it's definitely a nice perk for our full-time people.
Has it been tough to maintain that through even the past decade?
I mean, it's expensive, but I think it's kind of our main thing that we do for the employees as far as benefits. So I think it's expensive, but I think that's just kind of, we kind of try to keep it that way for our employees. So
fair. That's cool. So I guess, what do you see in the next, let's call it, it's going to be a tough question to ask or to answer, right? The next 5 years, presuming that things, I don't even want to say go back to normal, because I don't know what normal would be, and I feel like after it's been this way for a few months, this is normal. I don't think we can maintain that. Whatever. So I guess, where do you see the business going? Next, we'll call it
I mean, like I said, I don't see it getting any smaller. Just with the last few years, looking back at like financials and stuff like that, we've had continuous growth.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it was, in the last probably 6-7 years, as far as the business itself, obviously we've added the East Side location, but the business itself, as far as volume, we've doubled. So
wait, in 6-7 years?
Yeah.
You've doubled.
Yeah.
Wow. What do you attribute that to?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's there's a lot of aspects in it.
Looking good,
like
donuts,
I said,
right?
Just like with adding the second location, obviously that's helped.
All right.
And I think too, with just how much Madison's kind of grown over that period.
That's fair.
I think that's kind of helped it too. As far as like our wholesale accounts too, that's kind of grown over the years.
Okay.
So when we moved to the East Side location, we picked up a few more accounts just because we had a little bit more ability to do that mass production. So we picked up Woodman's, which has been a nice account for us.
Probably huge.
Yeah. So we're just in the 3 Woodman's in the Madison area right now.
Okay.
So the Sun Prairie, East and West Side. And then that's kind of, I guess, with the next 5 years, I've got a few things that I've kind of want to do as far as like growth. I think expanding kind of that wholesale aspect of things and kind of getting into some more grocery stores and stuff. I think that'll kind of help us out.
Right.
So we've been kind of looking at possibly getting some kind of distribution for like maybe all the Woodman's, or try to get into some more maybe stores down in like the Milwaukee or Appleton area maybe. So that's kind of a thing we'll be looking at down the road. And I think too, we're actually working on it right now, but we're adding our own branded coffee.
Really?
Yeah. So we haven't really made it public yet. But
Well, you did make it public.
No, I mean, we're going to be announcing it. We've been kind of waiting for it. It was kind of in the works before the whole COVID situation.
Okay.
And then once we had to kind of shut down our retail, we kind of put it on the back burner for a little bit.
Okay.
So we've partnered with True Coffee. And they're based out of Fitchburg. So they're going to be doing our own brand of coffee for it. And we're going to be doing an Italian blend and then a donut shop blend, where it'll have our own logo and everything on it. And the best thing about it too is, we haven't really talked about it yet, but we're a kosher bakery.
I was just eventually I was going to get to that
the
question.
best thing about it too is that they're kosher, so it'll be a kosher coffee. So it's kind of a whole weird kabuki with the kosher, but we can kind of talk about that a little bit.
I would love to, because I have no idea what it means.
So we'll be early next week. We've been waiting for the coffee to kind of get situated, and we're going to be doing like our own retail bags. So we've been doing some like labeling and bags and stuff like that. We're kind of waiting on.
So does True take care of that, or are you guys?
Yeah, so they'll be kind of doing everything for us as far as like manufacturing the coffee and stuff. So, and then as far as like distributing, we'll be doing all that in like house, and then selling it by the cups and by retail bags in both of our locations.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. I mean, we were doing, we did some, as far as coffee. It was Segafredo. It's kind of like a worldwide brand.
Okay.
And it's good coffee, but I kind of wanted to look at getting something local, because I think a lot with like Madison especially, a lot of people like to support local.
That's fair.
And I think we wanted to kind of partner with a local business to kind of collab on getting like a Greenbush coffee just for us. So it kind of like worked out perfect with our coffee distributor as far as like setting it up and stuff. So our plan is to kind of eventually, reach out to our wholesale places that we're in right now as far as selling our donuts and adding the coffee to it too. Wow. So, and then with our stores too, we'll be selling it by the cup and by the retail bags. So,
well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So was the idea for that, like, did you have to come up with a recipe or something like this, or did they help you with that?
No, they kind of helped us out. We actually went to their roastery a couple weeks ago to kind of check out their process of it. And it's kind of like the same thing with donuts as far as like the production of donuts. You know, you don't really ever get to see people roasting coffee. So we ended up going there.
Never.
And kind of we tried out a few different mixes that they did as far as like flavorings and stuff like that. And we kind of got to decide what flavorings we liked better. So we kind of chose out the different donut shop blend and Italian blend.
That's cool.
And yeah, it was kind of a cool process to see and, test out a few different coffees. And
yeah. What makes an Italian coffee?
I think it's, as far as my understanding, as far as like the different beans that they use just for different, to mix up and kind of do different flavorings as far as like the locations of where the beans come from. The whole coffee thing is kind of a new thing, a new aspect of it for me, and we learned a lot when we went there that one day. So yeah, they've got different beans from different, locations of the world where they kind of have done different like mixtures of to kind of add different flavorings to. So yeah.
Are there Italian coffee beans?
No, I think it's just kind of like the name. That's the name that we came up with.
Just throw some oregano in there and call it. So the coffee shop coffee, in comparison to the Italian coffee, I'm sorry, the donut shop coffee
blend. Yeah.
Coffee shop.
Yeah.
The donut shop blend. I guess what is the difference between the two?
The donut shop blend is a little bit more lighter of a roast, and then the Italian blend's a little bit darker roast. So
more punch in the face, get going.
Yeah, those are kind of the two big aspects. That
donut shop is just chill, relax.
Yeah. Yep.
Kick back, enjoy donut and coffee.
Donut shop blend and some donuts.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So will you be selling that wholesale as well?
Yeah, that's the plan. We're gonna try to get that into all of the grocery stores that we're in.
Gotcha.
So we're still kind of waiting to reach out to them because I wanted to kind of get some of the retail bags in hand, and that's kind of what we've been waiting on right now is kind of getting that all set up. So, once we kind of get that all taken care of, and that's kind of why we've been waiting to kind of roll it out in our stores too. I want to kind of have everything kind of put together at the same time as far as the coffee and the retail bags. So we're hoping sometime early next week we'll be able to kind of roll that out at both locations.
Oh wow, that's super cool.
Yeah.
So for those listening, that means right about now. By the time this thing airs, give or take a few days.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And we'll be posting everything on our social media. As far as when we do that, and I think we'll probably, do some promotions as far as like maybe do like a weekend where we kind of give out some free coffee to customers that come in. Just to kind of get people to try it out and stuff.
Right.
So
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Does that mean you'll have the little, little cartons to bring to the office and stuff like that?
We've never really done that. We might look into doing that. That's the other thing too. I think we'll kind of see how things kind of play out with as far as like the COVID situation, as far as like offices and stuff. If people are going to be interested in doing something like that, we might have that as an option for customers. What have you now? I guess I want to shift into talking a little bit about the COVID stuff that you've done at the East Side store. Yeah.
Because East Side store, I've been there, and you have a lot of space.
Yep.
And there's seating, not a ton, but enough that you could certainly be away from each other.
Yeah.
Have you removed those tables? Are they still there?
Yep. So we haven't been having any seating. For us too, it's not like the seating was like a necessity for our business. A lot of the business that we do is kind of people just coming in real quick and picking out their donuts and then heading off to wherever they're going. Yeah. The way I kind of see the seating is just kind of an added bonus for us. And it's kind of cool. Like on the weekends, we would get a lot of families to come in and kind of hang out and grab some donuts and a carton of milk and kind of
That's what we would do. Yeah, it was an excuse to go somewhere.
Yeah, so it was nice to have that. So for right now, obviously, we're just not dealing with the seating. I think just to kind of protect the business and our customers, it's the best thing to do. And then we've kind of set up both locations for precautions and rules as far as limiting as many. We're only letting 5 people in at a time for customers. So like on the weekends, we kind of, during when we're busy, we get a little bit of people waiting outside, which for us, it's not too big of a problem just because it is such a quick process as far as people coming in, grabbing their donuts and just leaving.
Right.
So it's not like people are waiting super long for donuts. But,
right.
And then as far as like other things we've kind of implemented, we've got some shields in front of like our POS stations just to kind of protect our employees and the customers and add some space there. And then we've kind of taped off as far as like spots to kind of distance the customers. And then we've taped off in front of like the cases and put some ropes and stuff in front of the cases so people aren't kind of like leaning over the cases and staying away from our customer, our employees. So, yeah, it's been kind of just, you know, the city's kind of set out their guidelines and information as far as us to follow, and we've kind of done everything that we should and then beyond as far as trying to keep a safe environment for not only our employees but the customers coming in. And you know, we've always kind of took pride in as far as keeping a clean and environment in the retail area, and we've kind of just implemented some more rules as far as frequency of wiping things down and kind of cleaning things. So yeah, it's been interesting kind of just trying to abide by things and try to, you know, do what's best for everybody, but also kind of keep the business going. So.
Interesting. That's cool. So I want to ask you, who's doing the sales? Are you running around to the grocery stores trying to?
So, I mean, we've had like most of our wholesale accounts like in place for quite some time where it's not really like you're there to like sell them on stuff. They kind of have like their set numbers that we get them every week. Okay. And then we've got a wholesale manager that, as far as keeping track of like numbers at both locations, whenever he's doing deliveries or my dad's doing deliveries, we kind of keep track to see how things, if it's selling out, we'll kind of bump them up a little bit, or if it's they're getting some waste, we kind of cut back the numbers a little bit. Sure. So as far as like the wholesale accounts and stuff, I go around, you know, sometimes if we've got people reaching out to us about adding us as a wholesale account, you know, I'll either reach out to them over phone or kind of stop by and drop off some samples or something.
They reach out to you?
We've had actually Woodman's actually reached out to us about getting us into their stores.
Wow.
It was the Sun Prairie store reached out to us, and then that kind of led into getting to all the Madison stores. Sure. So yeah, I mean, I go around and kind of reach out. We've added some like churches over the years too, and a lot of it is people kind of reaching out to us about adding. That's cool. Yeah, it's been another cool thing was like churches that we do. Yeah. So we probably have about 12 to 15 different churches that we were doing product to like every Sunday. Sure. Kind of on and off. Some of them were like every week. Some were like every other. Sure. Or like once every month or so. So that's kind of came to a halt too. Right. So I mean, a lot of people. It didn't dawn on me.
I don't know what churches are doing now.
Yeah. Well, I think some of them are kind of limiting capacity, but it's kind of the aspect too of not wanting to have product kind of where people are picking through. Right. So we've kind of started.
Simpson, just stick your finger
we've
in
kind of started to ease back a little bit. We've got a couple of the accounts back, but also don't want to kind of force people to start bringing it back, especially if people aren't comfortable with it. And I know too, it's worrisome to kind of have the virus kind of come back and things have to start to shut down. So, it's tough not having that business, but I also want people to kind of be safe too.
Right, that's fair.
Yeah.
Have any of the riots or protests or stuff like that challenged your business at all?
No, not really.
You were out of the
we're kind
out of the fray.
Yeah, we're kind of tucked away a little bit where we're not really close to like State Street, but I was worried a little bit there for a while. I think a lot of people in Madison were worried, but so. Yeah, we didn't have anything happen with that.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. One less thing.
Yeah.
We have so many headaches going on. So, I guess, do you have a favorite donut?
There's a few. I mean...
Presumably, Greenbush Bakery donuts.
No, yeah. Yeah, I really don't eat donuts too much, to be honest. Like, obviously, I've had pretty much every single donut.
But when you're 500 pounds.
Yeah, when you're around it every day, like, it's not like I go to work every day and eat 2 to 3 donuts. And, but, every once in a while, I'll take a bite out of a donut while I'm there. All right. If I had to choose, I would probably say we do, like, an Oreo cream-filled donut. That's probably
that sounds all right.
Up there. And then just, like, a cake donut with, like, just chocolate frosting.
Okay.
Probably...
Sure.
Up there too. So
that's cool.
We do a maple blueberry cake donut too.
Okay.
and that's when they're like fresh out of the fryer.
Yeah.
There's like nothing better than that.
Wow. All right. So
Yeah.
who comes up with the recipes and stuff like that for new stuff that you do?
So we really don't do too much like new product. It's kind
Okay.
of just been like the same stuff over the years, and we've added some new like fillings and different flavors and stuff like that over the years.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the stuff's kind of been in place for forever, where
Okay.
it's kind of just been doing the same stuff and just adding here and there and
All right.
trying some new stuff. But we don't really get too wild as far
Okay.
as like adding all these different candy bars. and,
Sure. No
you know.
bacon on top of donuts or anything.
Well, that's kosher. We can't do any meats.
we didn't talk
get
about
that-
the kosher
I know,
thing.
I know.
Okay, let's
we
hit
get
that.
asked about bacon a lot, but I've had some bacon top
That's
donuts.
so funny.
I like bacon, but I've had bacon top donuts and like
Eh,
I don't really think there's anything special.
no, that's just, it's kind of like,
because when you have bacon, it's warm and
yeah.
greasy, but when you get it on a donut, it's kind of cold, and most of the time it's like chewy, and you're like, ugh,
Yeah.
I can't do it.
It's opposing ideals, I suppose, like
Yeah.
two.
But bacon is, a lot of people love bacon, so I can
Right.
see why people, but with us
Right.
being kosher, we can't have any meats in our facility, so we wouldn't even be
Zero
able
meats,
to.
not just pig.
Yeah, so
None.
we're kosher dairy, so
Okay.
we can't do any meats in our production facility.
So,
So
tell me, how does kosher work? What's the definition?
yeah, so
Who, is there a
basically,
certification?
yeah, so we have a rabbi
Okay.
that comes every year
Okay.
to recertify us.
Okay.
So basically, the best way to describe kosher, it's
Mhm.
kind of just like another form of supervision to kind of ensure
Okay.
quality.
Sure.
So every product that we use, as far as like our mixes and flour and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and fillings, anything that goes into the process has to be kosher certified.
Okay.
So if you go to like a grocery store, a lot of places or a lot of like products that they have there are kosher.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't advertise it, but
Okay.
if you go look on like cereal boxes, they've got the little symbol on there that they're kosher
Really?
certified.
Okay.
So a lot of things are kosher.
Okay.
But as far as like bakeries, there's not really any kosher bakeries.
Mhm.
So that's kind of a cool aspect that we kind of pride ourselves with.
Sure.
And kind of advertise. So back to like the rabbi thing. So he has to come every year
Yeah.
to both locations and kind of just check over it to make sure that we haven't added any new products
Okay.
that wouldn't be kosher certified.
Okay.
And then just kind of checks in to make sure everything's kind of going smoothly with it.
Sure.
And then that was kind of a learning process for me too, because when we came to the east side location,
Mhm.
most of the time with like the Regent Street, he would just kind of come in and check things once a year. And then with the east side, he had to come and bless like the east side location and make sure everything was kind of set there.
Okay.
So what we had to do was with our fryer, we had to put water in it and make it come to a boil.
Okay.
And all of the like even utensils that we use too. So nothing can come in contact with like meats in the past. So if we were to bring
Okay.
in, let's say we brought in like some old like equipment and stuff like that, it would
Sure.
all have to be sanitized so that
Mhm.
it wasn't in contact with meats before and then it was being used in our facility.
Okay.
But everything that we get is new as far as like utensils and stuff
Right.
like that, where it wasn't a problem. But what we do when we had the east side, we had to bring water to a boil in the fryer, and everything that we had as far as like utensils and pans and stuff like that, we had to submerge into the boiling water so it was sanitized.
Okay.
So yeah.
So it seems like it's more a sanitary thing versus a religious thing,
Yeah,
except for the whole
yeah,
rabbi.
yeah,
thing.
and we get a lot of people ask us too if we're our family's Jewish, but we're not.
Yeah. Okay.
But my grandpa was reached out to the Jewish community about getting kosher when he had first bought the business.
Sure.
So it kind of started like right away when he was down at the Regent Street location.
All right.
So yeah, I would say it's more of just like a quality control and sanitary thing.
Okay.
So
So the grease that you use, is that not animal then, or it has to be vegetable or whatever?
Yeah, so we use a trans fat free soybean oil
Okay.
fry grease, and it's kind of like we actually switched over to this, and it probably was 4 or 5 years ago to this fry grease.
Okay.
So the way things are kind of changing is you can't have any trans fat fry grease.
Okay.
So we kind of got ahead of the curve with that, where we switched over to this trans fat free fry grease.
Is that a kosher thing, or is that
Yeah, it's kosher.
The world's getting fat?
No. Yeah,
okay.
it's kind of like a nationwide thing where they're switching over to it.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we switched over to this fry grease where it's trans fat free, and we were actually like the first people in Wisconsin to start using this fry grease.
Really?
And now, so it was kind of like we actually went up to one of our suppliers to their facility to kind of test it out to see how it kind of affected the donuts, but we didn't notice like any difference. And when we switched it over, we didn't have any like complaints as far as like the change in like the taste of the donuts. Like you couldn't even tell.
Okay.
So, because a lot of times if you're using like a cheaper fry grease or switch your fry grease up, you'd be able to notice like the difference in the donuts.
Yeah.
But when we switched it over, we didn't have any complaints about anything. If anything, it's kind of turned out better as far as the donuts themselves. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and that's kind of like a big thing too, is having that trans fat free and having that high quality fry grease where, it's not leaving like an oily donut for you. So
that's gonna be rare.
Yeah.
I feel like any donut's gonna be.
Yeah. I mean, we fry everything.
Sure.
But, it's not like we have oily donuts at all. It's just kind of a lot of the bakeries in Wisconsin too, I've kind of heard have started switching over to this fry grease too. So, or if not, use partial for this and then kind of use a different fry grease for the other.
Sure.
So
now I'm curious, I like metrics and stats and stuff like that. Do you have any idea how much grease you use in a given week, month, whatever?
I would say we probably we probably go through like 4 or 5 50-pound blocks of fry grease.
But it comes in blocks.
Yeah, it comes like in a solid
so
form. Yeah.
That's cool. This is stuff that we need to know, right? We got a tour.
Yeah, we go through a lot of fry grease, but we're also making a lot of donuts too.
No, that's understandable. I don't know how else you make a donut, so that's cool. I'm just picturing this guy opening up this huge thing of soybean oil. Yeah, that's cool. Well, awesome, man. I appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah.
I got one other question, I guess. We end it here. You've been with this business since essentially you were crawling.
Yeah.
So you probably learned some stuff. Is there anything, a piece of advice that you would give to someone that was considering starting a business of any kind that you've learned over the course of the years?
I think the biggest thing, I think with schooling, I think the biggest thing with like schooling is learning kind of time management and kind of socializing.
Sure.
And then as far as like business side of things, a lot of it's kind of learn as you go. Especially when you're in kind of like specialty trades, especially like donuts, like you don't learn anything like that in college as far as like business specific, but it's kind of learning as you go. And I think that's the biggest thing, is just having that experience and kind of having new situations kind of challenge you to kind of learn and kind of grow with the business. So that's kind of been my biggest thing, is just kind of having these like little things pop up where you're kind of like, okay, what do I do here? And then my grandpa's been like a perfect guy to kind of use as like a, hey, what should I do in this situation? Nice. Or, hey, this is broken. Like, what should I do for that? And he's so handy as far as like fixing stuff, where he'll kind of come in and fix pretty much anything with like no tools or anything. He knows exactly what needs to be done. And that's kind of been the biggest thing for me, is kind of learning how everything kind of operates and learning every aspect of the business, so you kind of have a full grasp of everything. But, yeah. That's cool. Yep. That's cool. I love it. This has been Authentic Business Adventures, the live-ish version, brought to you by the Sun Prairie Community Studios through Bank of Sun Prairie. My name is James Cademan, and Authentic Business Adventures is brought to you by Calls on Call, which we're in their office because all of our receptionists are at their home, offering call answering services for small businesses across the country. And Draw In Customers Business Coaching, offering business coaching services to entrepreneurs in all stages of their business, as well as the Bold Business Book, a book for the entrepreneur in all of us, available on Amazon and wherever fine books are sold. We'd like to thank Taylor. Thank you so much for being on the show. This is super cool. Yeah, thanks for having me. Where can people find you? The 2 locations. Yeah, so we've got our one location on Regent Street. It's 1402 Regent Street. Okay. And it's in the storefront on the Regent Apartments, right across from Scotty Bar. Cool. And then our east side location is on High Crossing Boulevard. Okay. So it's kind of right over by Mr. Brews and Steinhoffels and all the
Sure.
car dealerships over there.
All the car dealer,
And then-
car alley there, right?
Yep. So, and then we've got a list of like all of our wholesale accounts on our website.
Cool.
That we're in for grocery stores.
So they can find you wherever
Yep,
they are.
Yep.
That's cool. Find us airing on 103.5 Wednesdays at 1 p.m., Sundays at 2 p.m., as well as at sunprairemediacenter.com. Past episodes, as a reminder, can be found morning, noon, and night at the podcast link, found at drawincustomers.com. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. I want you to stay awesome, and if you do nothing else, enjoy your business. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you.
This has been cool.
Yeah, it was good.
Yay.